welcome to another edition of The Comic Anthologist. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do so, and also hit that like button. And today we are going to talk briefly about Across the Spider-Verse, the latest Spider-Man film that just came out through Sony Pictures.
Right.
Involving Miles Morales
and also involving Spider-Man 2099.
Right, Miguel O'Hara.
Yeah. So I would like to start off with, I love the film. It was phenomenal. I thought it was better than the first one, to be honest.
Well, no, yeah, it was definitely better than the first one, because I saw that they took the time with the color bleeds, but also the story itself was a lot tighter, and all of it became more and more cohesive in terms of the way how they showed how Miles Morales was able to become Spider-Man when certain things went down the way that they did.
Did you also notice it was a timeline branch in there like they did in Loki? And,
yes. That was basically a nod to the whole multiverse thing.
Right, exactly. So yeah, because also too, there was a lot of Spider characters in there that I've seen over the years in the comics that we've collected. And I was just like, I was very surprised. And I was also surprised that it crossed over with certain other properties related to Spider-Man and Spider-Man movies. But again,
yeah,
I am not going to throw out any spoilers, because you got to go out and check out the film if you hadn't seen it already.
Right, because when you see the film, you will see and understand how things have played out now that Miles Morales is a little older, and how the Spider-Verse is all tied into this.
Exactly.
And we've already talked about Spider-Man 2099 in another blog earlier from the other previous broadcasts, but also bringing in Miles Morales and giving him his
own voice,
him being center stage, and also working with the Ghost Spider, which is aka Gwen Stacy.
Right.
And because we already know in another timeline, that version of Gwen Stacy died, and this is during the 70s when Spider-Man tried to save her.
Yeah, fighting the Green Goblin.
Green Goblin thrown off a bridge.
But the Green Goblin wasn't the centerpiece. The main villain was the Spot. And I have to say, when I first collected that book back in the day with the first appearance of the Spot, yeah, he was a mediocre character, and I could see why he was just kind of like getting kicked around, like kicked a can or whatnot.
Well, yeah, because I thought the Spot was just somebody that was just...
It's like a joke.
A throwaway villain.
Yeah.
Somebody you can just sit up there and just say, you know what, whatever. You can just go ahead and kick him around and keep him moving.
But then, as of certain events that went on in the film, then I was like, okay, yeah, they kind of took what the joke he was in the comic books and made him more of a major level threat.
Oh yeah, they made him not so much not a major level threat, but also on top of that, as he was, because you could see mentally he was unhinged. He was unhinged, thinking like, oh no, I'm going to become bigger. I'm going to do this. Oh yeah, and I'm going to make sure that you're going to respect me.
But one of the things he wasn't paying attention to the repercussions of his actions behind that, because it's like the more powerful he got, the more
damage he was doing,
causing, and he didn't even think anything of it. He was just thinking of one thing, one focal motivation: defeating Miles Morales.
Yeah, and Miles was like, wait a minute, come on, man, you can't be doing this. But he started taking more and more seriously as the story kept progressing.
Exactly.
But again, I don't want to give too much away, but the Spot becomes the major central antagonist throughout the story, but that's just part of the story.
And also, too, Miguel O'Hara, he's one of my favorite Spider-Men in the comic books, because I've been collecting his books since when he first came out back in the 90s.
Yeah, that was 1992.
Yeah. And I love the design aesthetic of that particular Spider-Man. It's a different Spider-Man of the future. But at the same time, my only gripe was that they made him a bit of an antagonist to a degree.
Yeah, and
but then in the book, he also has an edge of him about him that he's not like he's definitely not Peter Parker. He doesn't joke around like when he's fighting his adversaries. Like Miguel O'Hara is like...
What's the old expression that they said in the book back in the day was that Peter Parker, he's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Well, Miguel O'Hara in 2099 is he's not your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in the future.
Right, exactly.
And he had more of an edge to him because similar powers to Peter Parker, but at the same time, he was also a little bit more arrogant and also more driven. But as you see as the story plays out, he's not one to be reckoned with.
You know who else I liked that he did a cameo of in the film too?
Who was that?
Scarlet Spider.
Yes, Ben Riley.
They had multiple spiders in there. So it's like it was so many of them. It's like you have to probably pause the film just to see. Okay, there's that one. There's this one. There's this
Well,
one.
they have the Tyrannosaurus Rex Spider-Man.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
one.
Spanish Spider Tyrannosaurus. And then they had all these other different versions of Spider-Man from all these other different versions on the
Right.
on the timeline, and it was just a multiverse of different ones, especially Spider-Punk. And I said to myself, this is so cool to have all these different variants, but they all had their own signature looks, their own signature animation, their own signature story, everything.
Yeah, so I highly recommend to go check out that film. I really do.
And when you go see it, just know, because a lot of people are getting upset about it, it does end with a cliffhanger, but we won't say why or how or what goes on.
And the next film will be called Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Exactly, which will be the last in the trilogy. And they're saying it's supposed to be coming out on March 2024. I don't think they're going to make that date for the simple fact.
I'm not going to hold my breath on it because of what's going on with the writer's strike and everything.
Yeah, not only the writer's strike, but also it takes time to animate all those special effects sequences, and also
rendering and all that.
And the rendering and the layering of all the colors and the art styles. I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. Spider-Punk, different style. Ben Riley, different style.
Vulture.
Vulture, he had the style of the
1800s, like Victorian era.
actually no, more the Renaissance.
Yeah,
the
that's what I
Renaissance
said.
era.
Yeah, the Victorian era. Yeah.
Yeah, the Renaissance era. And then you had a different variation of the lizard, and I won't say who he is, but it was just different in so many levels. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing wins awards later on down the road. But they kind of stuck their foot in it and had fun with the narrative and took it to a whole nother level, which made it so enjoyable.
Yeah, exactly. So go out and check that film. Go in and check it out and enjoy. And of course, if you got any comments on the film, just leave them any questions or any comments. Just leave them on the page for this particular episode.
Right. Leave comments, questions, emails. I'll definitely respond. Here and I will definitely respond back to you. And till then, again, hit that like button. And you can reach us at thecomicanthologist@gmail.com. And until then, hit that subscribe. Have a great evening. Take it easy. Peace.